Hey everybody, it's Kate, the West Coast Paper Crafter. Happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends. I have a autumn themed card project tonight that some of you may already have seen, or at least seen the design on a reel that I posted to my page on Friday. So if you saw that reel, it's the same fun fold design, except this time it's going to be autumn themed instead of Christmas. So I've got all the pieces ready to go. I'll walk through all the measurements, and if you're crafting along with me, you're going to want to grab your paper trimmer or whatever you use to score your cardstock. I'm just going to flip the camera around, and it might get a little bit bumpy, so if that makes you dizzy, just look away for a second. All right, I'm going to get us set up, attempt to zoom in. Oops. All right, well, I have a finicky camera. That's fine. That will work. So sometimes I can get my zoom to work, but honestly, most times I can't. However, I can push my camera down. So that should work as long as I remember to keep my hands in the camera view. All right, so I've got lots of pieces cut out. This card, if you like fun folds and layers, then this is the card for you. Hey Nancy, thanks for tuning in. Hello Karen. I have bling set aside for this card today just for you. All right, so I used Sweet Days of Autumn Designer Series paper, and I actually didn't even know this paper was in Stampin' Up! Had this paper until I opened up a scrapbooking workshop kit, and I fell in love with it. It's adorable. I love all the little creatures. I should have had a big sheet of it to show you, but it's really cute. There's lots of different papers, so I ended up cutting into my scrapbooking paper and reordered just the paper so I can still make my scrapbooking pages with it. So that's my plan. Hey Janice, thanks for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Hello Phyllis, hello Gail. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so Sweet Days of Autumn. I've got two pieces that are cut to 1 7/8 and 5 1/4. And then I've got another piece that is 1.5 by 3 7/8. And I've gone ahead and I've cut layers in Mossy Meadow, and they're just 1/8 of an inch bigger than the Designer Series paper. So these two pieces, they're 2 by 5 3/8. And then this is 1 5/8 by 4. For the inside, basic white, 5 1/4 by 4. And again, this is just 1/8 of an inch bigger, so it's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. I'll put that out of the way. We don't need that right now. And then this is early Expresso, 5.5 by 8.5. And we're going to score it on the 8.5 inch side at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. Or if you're lazy like me and don't like pulling out the little arm extender, if I don't have to, I'm just going to flip my paper around and score it twice at 2 1/8. All right, so it depends how you want to do it. So you just score it at 2 1/8, slide it over, score it at 6 3/8, or flip it around like I did and score it again at 2 1/8. So just going to get my paper trimmer out of the way. Whoops. So when my zoom doesn't work, I have my camera so close to me that it's in my way. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm going to flatten down the edges of the score line so my fold lays nice and flat. Well, hello Arthur Morgan, thanks for tuning in. Arthur Morgan is actually my son. He's got his own Facebook account now. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Okay, so we're just going to mat our layers together. with either multi-purpose liquid glue or whatever you like to use. Hi Gina, thanks for tuning in. So there's just a smidge of a border in between the designer series paper and the Mossy Meadow layer. I'm going to do that a second time. So once I glue these two pieces down, then they're going to go on the flaps of our card front. So this fun fold is super simple, and the layers make it feel really, I don't know, dense, I guess. It feels heavy, and I like that feel on a handmade card. I don't like my cardstock to feel too light. To me, it feels kind of flimsy, and I don't want to say cheap, but maybe that's what I'm looking for. So when you add a bunch of layers, you get this almost like a heavy little card, and it just feels, to me anyway, just my own personal opinion, it feels a little more sturdy and maybe a little bit more quality, but hopefully the recipient of this card is a card saver and they hang on to it. Hey, Terry from Texas. First time tuning in? Well, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. How's the weather in Texas? I have never been to Texas, but it is on my bucket list. Actually, there's a lot of states that are on my bucket list. All right, now, oops. I'm just going to glue this second panel down. And your card, if you're crafting along, is going to look like this. Now, this layer is going to go right across the front of the card, and I'm going to add a sentiment, and I'm going to add a few more elements just to make it a little bit more interesting. There's no ribbon on this card, but I will put some bling on it. Last week I didn't bling up my card, and my good friend Karen, she's a blinger, and she was watching, so I felt some blingless shame. Is that a thing? 94 in Texas today. Terry, you know what I'm going to have to do when I get off this live? I'm going to go onto the good old-fashioned Googleizer and find out what 94 degrees Fahrenheit is in Celsius, because my brain doesn't think like that. But I'm curious. I must know. So I am using a With Thanks sentiment. This came from the September paper pumpkin, which I've actually got a lot of use out of. And this little die cut I cut out of crumb cake, and I used the smallest kind of elongated diamond shape in the nested essential dies. And I have a plan for an element, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment close to the left edge, and I'm stamping with early espresso. I thought this was fitting for today since it is Canadian Thanksgiving and it is a With Thanks card. So now I'm just going to glue this to the front of this panel. I thought about popping it up, but I cut out some of the little critters from the designer series paper, and I'm going to pop those guys up instead. Okay, so I'm just making sure that this is centered. Oh, thanks, Judy. 32 degrees. That is hot. And Gail, thank you. Oh, you guys are fast. All right, did you just know that, or did you have to Googleize it? Okay, so I've got my sentiment on here. Now, I am going to pop this up with some dimensionals just on this flap. And I'm not going to put my dimensionals on the back side of my sentiment piece, only because I know if I keep my dimensionals close, it's going to fit. So I feel pretty confident I can't mess it up. All right, my handy take your pick tool with the pointy edge. I'm just going to stab these dimensionals and pull the backings off at the same time. super handy. And then what I'm just being conscious of is this little Mossy Meadow border. I'm going to line up my sentiments so my Mossy Meadow border on the sentiment layer is just flush to the edge of the designer series paper. Maybe I did that wrong. And then if I cut exactly right, it should be flush on the other side. But I did not. I have a tiny little edge there, which is so fine because I will be the only person who even notices that. All right, so I fussy cut out a little raccoon and a bear and an owl. So I know for sure I'm going to pop this owl up right here with the dimensional. And depending what fits, because I wasn't sure if the bear was going to fit. I had a feeling he's a little bit too big. He was my favorite. I did want to add him, but he's too big. So I'm going to put this little fox here instead, and then I won't cover up any of that sentiment. All right, Cindy, hi. Thanks for tuning in. All right. So I'm going to add a dimensional to the back side of this little owl. And I'm going to pop him up right there. And then I think I'll have room for 2 big dimensionals on the back of this fox. And 1 little mini on his tail. Ooh, I'm running out of mini dimensionals. Do any of you use mini dimensionals, or do you just cut your regular dimensionals? I do both. I like using both the regular and the mini, but oftentimes I just cut my regular dimensionals too. Not because I don't have minis, but more likely because I'm too lazy to go and get them. I'm still transitioning from my kitchen table or the dining room to my craft room, so I still have half of my things downstairs. All right, I just missed a comment. Where did it go? I lost it. About putting the bear on the inside. Oh, Gail, yeah, I totally could put the bear on the inside. That is a good idea. But I was going to add my little snail from the autumn set because I am loving it. But I think your idea is good, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just add that snail to the envelope instead. Best of both worlds. Oh, many people use both. We're so smart. Oh, see you, Kai. You're heading out. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. All right. Glue on the bear. Oh, Terry, you've never made cards, but you make journals. Were we chatting about that on just on a comment on one of my reels, maybe? Was it you I was talking to just briefly about junk journals? And I'm intrigued because I don't think I've ever seen one. And I would love to see one. Because who doesn't like journals, right? I love getting a new journal for the new year. And I write my gratitude list in that. I used to do it every night. I would just write down a few things that I was grateful for. And I was just religious. I did it for years, and I don't know what happened, but I kind of fell off the wagon last year. So this year, I need to go find the right journal and pick it back up. Or I mean, this coming year, 2025. That will be my New Year's resolution, to get back into daily gratitude journaling. And I think when we start looking at all the good things that happen in our day, it's almost like our brain gets a little bit rewired and we just see good everywhere. So it's one of my favorite practices. Well, thanks, Sam. Oh, hello, Jenny, your first timer. Thanks for joining. That's awesome. Connie, this paper is brand new, so you can definitely get it. It is called Sweet Days of Autumn. Stampin' Up carries it. I don't know which country you're from, but if you're in Canada, I can definitely help you order. If you are somewhere else and you don't have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I can probably recommend someone for you if you don't already have your own. Okay, so good call on the bear on the inside. He is super cute. So I've just glued that bear down to my basic white. That's 5¼ by 4. Matted it onto the Mossy Meadow. That's just 1/8 bigger. So 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And that's that, except I'm going to add some, I think these are basic rhinestone gems. I have a feeling they're retired, and I was going through all of my embellishments today and I thought, holy smokes, like I have got so many retired embellishments. I need to start really blinging it up. So this is our card. I hope you guys like it. And because I'm addicted to the little snail stamp, I am going to add him to my envelope. I'll do the front of the envelope, because I'm going to send this card snail mail, and I think that's hilarious. Thanks, Gil. Thanks, Nancy. I'm glad you guys think it's cute. Cindy, I would like to see all your embellishments. Take a picture. Show me. And designer series paper. Oh my gosh, hey. We're hoarders. We are craft hoarders. All right. So these, the snail shell and the little snail, they line up quite well. It's a little hard for me to see just because my camera's in the way, but nailed it. The only thing that I did wrong was I accidentally used my early Expresso. I was going to use Cajun Craze. However, that's just fine. And funny enough, I did see a snail on one of my dog walks last week that had a very dark shell, so that works. All right, here's our card. This is the sample I made yesterday. Same, except the snails, he was stamped in the Cajun Craze. Actually, take a look. I'm interested what you prefer, the early Expresso shell or the Cajun Craze. I've been only using Cajun Craze, but maybe I need to change it up. And then this is a Christmas card that I made, and that's, if you might have already seen this because I posted a reel with this on Friday. So that's that. I'm on a roll with fun folds, and now I was thinking about what am I going to come up with next week, because I've been doing fun folds for the past, I think, 3 weeks, and I feel like I need to keep doing fun folds. But can a girl run out of fun fold designs to do? Probably. Snailed it. Jenny, that was funny. There's a few things in life I really like, and word play is one of them. So that's hilarious. I'm going to use that. Thank you for leaving that. It just made my night. Yeah, I like word play, and I also really love pulling a sweater out of the dryer while it's still hot and putting it on. That's also one of my most favorite things in life. I have a lot of favorite things. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to tell you about a couple things that you may or may not be interested in, depending where you live. So if you are in Canada and you're my customer in October, then you will be getting the kits for the Potions and Spells card class at home that I just designed over the weekend. And this week I'm going to film the tutorials and I'm going to post them on Facebook and YouTube. If you are not my customer, you can still make these. I'm going to post all the measurements and supplies. If you don't have what I use what you have in your stash. But if you are my customer, you may already have these kits coming to you in the mail. Halloween's coming pretty quick, so I'm hesitant to mail any more out because I don't know if they're going to come in time. But if you want them and you're local and you're my customer, then we can arrange like a drop off, or a pickup or a coffee and craft. So this card is just ink and Stampin' Blends. Oh, I lied. Ink, Stampin' Blends, a little bit of blending, and I've got a lot of Wink Castella on the bubbles, but it's hard to tell on the video. And this is a little treat box, which is my take on a glow up for Frankenstein because I use the glimmer paper that's in the mini catalog. I think it's pretty cute. Fun fact, Stampin' Rate markers do not work on glimmer paper. I had to go old fashioned and use a Sharpie, just a plain old black Sharpie, and it worked really well. And then this is actually quite a big treat box that folds up similar to kind of like a milk carton, and you can stuff a lot of goodies in here. So anyway, stay tuned. If I am organized enough, I'm going to have all these classes posted by the weekend. And that's it. Oh, wait. October joining special. If you are not a demonstrator, but you like a good deal, October is a really good deal to sign up for Stamping Up because you get to choose more product for the flat joining rate for, I don't know about other countries, but in Canada, when you sign up to be a demonstrator with Stampin' Up, it costs you $135, and usually you get to pick $165 in product for your starter kit. Anything you want, with exceptions, I think, on Paper Pumpkin prepaid subscriptions. I think that might be it. But in October, if you join up, the flat rate is $135, but you actually get to pick $206 in product. It comes with a surprise paper pumpkin, which is always really fun to see what you get. Free shipping, and of course, a discount, 20% off for at least 6 months with no obligations. So most people join up for a discount and have no interest in selling, and that's totally fine. We call you hobby demos. And that's how I started out. I just wanted the discount, and I actually don't even know how I got into doing lives and a bunch of stuff on Facebook, but I really enjoy it, and I've met so many people and so many new friends. So that's what's happening. Potion and Spells card class at home, free for everybody, but if you are my customer, then you're going to get those kits this month. And if you think you might want to join up and get a good deal, October's a good time. The next really good joining special, probably January, but I can't say for sure because I never really know what they're going to do. All right. Jenny, no, it is so unfortunate. I really wish that anybody could be my customer, but sadly, if you're American, I cannot be your demonstrator. But if you don't have one, I have a really good friend who's a demonstrator, and I would love to connect you. So reach out if you want to talk more about that, because I can't say enough good things about my sister, American US demonstrator. Her name is Christy, and her page is Create with Christy, and she does free classes on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and she's great. I like her very much. Anyway, I think that's it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody in Canada, and thanks for all of you who tuned in to watch me craft tonight. And if you're catching the replay, thanks very much. Say hello, tell me where you're from, and most importantly, if you make this card design, I'd really, really love to see what you come up with. Yeah, that's it. So thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you all next Monday.